So in this Matlab tutorial, we'll look at the basics to plotting. So first to be understood is that when you're plotting, you are storing values into vectors and then plotting based on the data against each other. So we'll look at how to create vectors, and then once we get into plotting, we will explore some of the different functions within plotting and how to modify the appearance in order to format your plots in the way that you want. So getting right into it, if we go to the command window and put help plot, it will show us everything we can do with plotting. If you just put plot and have x, y as your parameters, two vectors, simply it will output a new window with a function plotted based on y versus x. As you can see down here, if you add a third parameter, a character string, you can format the lines that are being plotted based on what color they are, what the make of the line is, and the line style. And further along, there are a bunch more really concrete examples of what you can do with plotting. We will get into a little bit of that, but feel free to look at that on your leisure. So first we'll open up a worksheet and look at how to make an array. So we'll start with x just for our domain, and let's say we want to make an array from 0 to 5. That's all we have to do is just in square brackets put 0:5. And first, if we clear this and then run it, you'll see we have in steps of 1, 0 through 5. Now if you want to have the function take certain step intervals, let's say a half, all you would have to do is put a half in between the bounds. So you can read this as start at 0, go up by steps of 5 until you get to a half, until you get to 5. So if we run that and we now look at it, so you can have 0, a half, 1, 1.5, all the way up to 5 off the screen there. So if we start looking at other methods, we can also do the linspace method. And this is really useful if you don't know what your interval steps are, but want to have a certain number of data points. So let's say the same example, you have 0 through 5. Your bounds are the first two parameters, and then your third parameter is the number of steps you want. So let's say you want 5 steps. Let's say 6 steps. We run that. As you can see, it's the exact same thing where you have 6 elements through 5, and it automatically calculates the size of the step you need. So from there, I will show you the way that functions are commonly created is you create a y array, and all that is a manipulation of the x. So let's say we want to do y equals x squared. You do y, and remember the dot operator to do it as an element by element operation rather than a matrix operation. If we do that, and then plot, but notice that there are very few points in the x array when we run it. As you can see, we will get a parabola, but there are jagged points within the plot. Going back to our x array, let's say we crank that up to 100. Not much of a difference, but you can see it is a much more smooth line. Just that plays on the fact that they are vectors rather than just functions being represented. So now if we want to format it a bit, let's say we put title, and as you can see, if we put title and then in brackets and parentheses, parentheses and quotations, it will show up there. So there is help. Let's say you want to put the x-axis, you put x label. Same thing. Let's see, we put x. As you can see, when we pull it up now, there's an x on the x label, on the x-axis. It's the exact same thing for the y. Now let's say we want to manipulate the line. What we would do, put a comma again, and then in brackets, let's say we want a dotted line, we'll put a dot, and let's say we want it to be green, we'll put a G. And again, this is just consulting to the data you get after you hit help plot. So we'll do that, and then pull it up again, and as you can see, it is a green dotted line at each point on the domain, so there are 100 points in there. And that is pretty much it. There is a lot more to plotting. We could affect the line width and a bunch of other things, but I think you guys get the point. And there it is. I hope you enjoy the tutorial.